Part 198. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 1972. Zhang Xiangbei went home for one night and disappeared again starting the next day. At this time, Grandma, and Zhang Xiangzi could only rely on mobile phone video to capture Zhang Xiangbei's whereabouts. Zhang Xiangbei went to Beijing today and will not go to Beijing tomorrow. I went to Ningxia and said I was going to buy a farm. 2 days later, I showed up in Guangzhou again. After returning to Hangzhou on the 28th, Zhang Xiangbei finally stayed at home for another night. He drove to Hunan on the 29th, saying he wanted to avoid the National Day holiday and the highway congestion that started on the night of the 30th. That night, Zhang Xiangzi insisted on sleeping with Zhang Xiangbei no matter what, and refused to sleep with Grandma. Grandma said, "No, what should I do if you wet the bed at night?" Zhang Xiangzi quickly begged for mercy, Grandma, please do well. Bai Bei will start tomorrow and we won't be able to find him again." Everyone was amused by her. Zhang Xiangbei told his grandma, "It's okay. I'll give it to her tonight." Zhang Xiangbei drove alone to Ningyuan this time. Xiao Wu was sent to Beijing to assist Wen Wen. Sun Xiangyang was sent to Guangzhou to assist Zhou Ruyi and the others. Everyone else in the company was one person. Personally using it. The afternoon before, Zhang Xiangbei returned to Hangzhou from Guangzhou and asked Xiao Sheng, the driver of Ban Mutian, to pick him up at the airport. Zhang Xiangbei went to Zhang Chen's office and asked him to help design several Cantonese advertisements. The company came up with several plans, but Zhang Xiangbei always felt dissatisfied, so he might as well take advantage of his father. Zhang Xiangbei walked into Zhang Chen's office, and Lu Ligan was also there. Lu Ligan heard that Zhang Xiangbei was going to Ningyuan the next day, and he told Zhang Xiangbei, "I'll go with you." Zhang Xiangbei hadn't spoken yet, but Zhang Chen said beside him, "You better forget it. You're a convicted felon and you're still on probation, so don't get too involved." Zhang Xiangbei laughed. Zhang Xiangbei said, "It's okay. It's such a short distance to Hunan. I can drive there alone." It's true. When Zhang Xiangbei had never driven a long distance before, he thought that driving from New York to New Haven or from Hangzhou to Nanjing was already considered a long distance. But with Xiao Wu, they were fighting all over the country. After running down half of China, Zhang Xiangbei felt that the concept of distance had become closer, and his understanding of distance suddenly expanded. It used to be that when he drove 100 kilometers from Hangcheng to Yongcheng, he had to go to the Tonglu service area to rest for a while. Now, he doesn't feel the need to rest for 3 or 4 hours without driving for 300 or 400 kilometers. He goes in and out of the service area. It's such a waste of time. It is 1,200 kilometers from Hangcheng to Ningyuan. Zhang Xiangbei said, "I will go into the service area to have lunch and then have dinner. Maybe I don't even need to eat dinner. I can go to Wen Wen's fish restaurant, where the fish is so delicious." "Slow down, don't be rough." Zhang Chen glanced at Zhang Xiangbei and said to him, "You have to remember that you have thousands of people who need to eat now." When Zhang Chen said this, Zhang Xiangbei also felt that he had a heavy responsibility. He felt that this was more effective than talking about paying attention to safety. There are thousands of people below you who need to eat, so nothing can happen to you. Zhang Xiangbei nodded and said yes. "Bai Bei, you drive my car. My car is still of some use in Ningyuan, and the traffic police won't stop it even if they see it," Lu Ligan and Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhang Xiangbei came to Zhang Chen's company originally because he wanted to borrow a jeep. It was impossible for him to drive the Audi R8 to Ningyuan and switch to Lu Ligan's BMW X6. Just in time, Zhang Xiangbei nodded. Lu Ligan and Zhang Xiangbei went downstairs together. When they arrived at the parking lot, he did not give the key to Zhang Xiangbei and asked, "Didn't you just come back from Guangzhou? Where is your luggage?" Zhang Xiangbei swung the backpack on his back, I'm going for a few days, that's all. Get in the car. Lu Ligan got into the cab and said to Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei was surprised and asked. What do you want to do? Go buy something for the little girl. You can help me take it, Lu Ligan said, and Zhang Xiangbei agreed. The two of them drove to the Hangcheng Center next door. Lu Ligan bought a lot of food and entertainment, as well as a lot of clothes, all for Lu Wenqian, which almost filled the trunk of the X6. After buying the things, Zhang Xiangbei drove to his work, while Lu Ligan walked back to Zhang Chen's office. Early the next morning, Zhang Xiangbei set off directly from Splendid Home to Ningyuan. Zhang Xiangbei called Xiangnan in the office last night and told her that he was going to Hunan today. Xiangnan said with a sad face, "It's a pity that I have to perform on National Day, otherwise I would go with you." Zhang Xiangbei originally wanted to stay in Yongcheng for one night and continue walking tomorrow. The two talked for a long time, but Xiangnan was still worried that in the evening of the next day, when the self-driving group had already set off, Zhang Xiangbei was still on the road and had not arrived. If you want to reach your destination, you will most likely be stuck on the highway. The highways on National Day every year are too scary. Xiangnan and Zhang Xiangbei said, "Forget it, you should go directly. Go early and come back early. When you come back, you can stay in Yongcheng for one night." Zhang Xiangbei said yes. Therefore, when Zhang Xiangbei passed by Yongcheng today, he did not get off the expressway. He just called Xiangnan and told her that he had just passed through Yongcheng. "Be safe, do you hear me, Zhang Xiangbei?" Xiangnan asked. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Okay, I understand. The National Day Golden Week every year is a day for everyone to travel, but the Golden Week is only for city people. It is a time for the whole family to have a holiday and rest. It is just a good time to take advantage of this time to travel as a family, especially self-drive travel. For rural areas and farmers, there is no concept of Golden Week. Zhang Xiangbei wants to use this time to finalize the joint establishment of a vegetable company. What they want to set up there now is not one company, but 3 companies. In addition to Wenwen and Qinqin's village, there is also Guankei's village and the village where Hongling Reservoir is located. The method of cooperation is a tripartite cooperation, which is jointly established by Zaixianshuang, Hongling Farmhouse, and the village committees of these 3 villages. The villagers use their own land as shares. Zhang Xiangbei is the chairman of these 3 companies, and the general managers are served by the village directors of the 3 villages, Wenwen and Qianqian, who are also involved in daily management, especially financial supervision. These 3 companies, plus Wenwen and their Hongling Reservoir, will become their own directly operated organic vegetable production areas, one in the south and one in the north, together with the farm that Zhang Xiangbei and the others have just acquired in Shizuizi, Ningxia. Once this model is successful, they will continue to promote this model, so that their fresh home delivery can truly master the entire industry chain. Zhang Xiangbei drove from Hangzhou to Shangrao, Jiangxi Province, before entering the service area to refuel and eat. The weather today was fine, the field of vision was wide, and there were not many cars on the highway. Zhang Xiangbei looked at his watch. It was 1:20, and he decided then we got on the expressway and drove directly to the Ganzhou service area. When we got there, it should be about 5 o'clock. We refueled and went to the toilet, but we didn't eat. At about 10 o'clock in the evening, he can go to Wenwen and the others. Since their fish restaurant also serves late-night snacks, he will have dinner there. When Zhang Xiangbei was almost driving to Chenzhou, it started to get dark outside. Zhang Xiangbei called Wenwen and told her that he had arrived in Chenzhou. Wenwen said yes, the village directors and secretaries of several villages know that you are coming, and they are all waiting for you here. Zhang Xiangbei said, "It's too late today, let them go back first, and we will talk tomorrow." Wenwen smiled and said, "After waiting for so long, I finally got you here today. How can they leave?" Baibei, if you don't come again, they will think I am a liar and deceiving them. There is no late rice in the fields, so Wu Fool asked them to leave the fields empty for fertilization, saying they wanted to nourish the fields and cover them with mulch to kill bacteria. Everyone looked at the empty fields and felt panicked. I'm sorry, Aunt Wenwen, we are here. We are really busy during this period, Zhang Xiangbei said quickly. Wenwen said, I know, those verbose ones were all scolded by me. Zhang Xiangbei laughed loudly, you are still awesome, Aunt Wenwen. By the way, I didn't even eat dinner, I want to eat fish. Okay, you can eat as much as you want. I'll let them eat together, Wenwen said. By the way, Baibei, give them a kick later and knock them all down. People from the countryside are coming. Be a little firm, and then it will be easier to talk. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, okay, at worst, you can ask a few chefs to carry me back to the room. After a phone call, we have passed Chenzhou, and we have to go to Guiyang, then Jiahe, to Ningyuan County, and then to Hongling Reservoir. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Zhang Xiangbei drove to the entrance of Hongling Reservoir. The gate of the reservoir was closed, but the sub-door in the middle of the gate was still open. Zhang Xiangbei honked the horn, and the security guard in the communication room stretched out his head to take a look. He shouted in surprise. Mr. Liu is back. Zhang Xiangbei was stunned for a moment before he remembered that he had driven here in Liu Ligan's car. The security guard had a bad look and thought it was Liu Ligan who had returned. The security guard opened the door with a squeak. Zhang Xiangbei pressed down the car window, slowly drove in, and said hello to the security guard. The security guard poked his head and looked into the car. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, don't look, Mr. Liu is not here. The security guard nodded. Zhang Xiangbei said, by the way, my surname is Zhang. You call Wenwen and ask her to open the elevator, and call a few more people to come down and move things. The security guard said loudly, "Okay," spouting out letters one by one. Zhang Xiangbei smiled. Zhang Xiangbei drove the car to the escalator leading to the top of the embankment and stopped. After waiting for a while, Wenwen and Qian came down with 4 or 5 people. Zhang Xiangbei opened the trunk and asked them to put the things inside. After taking the things, Zhang Xiangbei and Wenwen said, I'll park the car and come up. Wenwen said yes. Zhang Xiangbei drove the car to the parking lot and parked it. The place had already become lively in advance. Zhang Xiangbei saw that more than half of the cars were already parked in the parking lot. Zhang Xiangbei arrived at the top of the embankment and walked to Wenwen and Qin's office. He saw those things piled up into a hill in the office. Qian was holding a piece of clothing for Lu Wenqin to try on. Lu Wenqin was very busy. Holding a toy in one hand and a can of Dove chocolate in the other, unable to reach his hands into his sleeves. Qian asked her to put down the chocolates and toys first and try on clothes. Boss Lu Wenqin was reluctant, and Wenwen said, Wenqian, quickly put on your new clothes and show them to daddy. When Lu Wenqin heard this, she immediately put down the toys and chocolates in her hands. Zhang Xiangbei saw that the ashtrays on the coffee table were full, but there were only 3 people in the office, Wenwen, Qian, and Lu Wenqin. Zhang Xiangbei asked, what about them? Have they gone back? No, I asked them to wait in the box. They were chirping here and their heads hurt from the noise, Wenwen said. Thank you, Tin Soldier, for reading the book every day, 2 fishes one above the other, third from top to bottom, and the reward at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for your monthly votes from Wawa Tin Soldier, Cao Cao Chuang Yang Weizu, Fi Longzation, Wu Ziu, Ba Liang, De Ji Lao, Book Friends 140619134947885, Kingbo, Lu Sandeo, and Professional Season Formal Wear. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1973. She tried 2 clothes on Lu Wenqian, and they both fit her perfectly. Qian cursed, "This bastard still knows what size clothes Wenqian wears." After Qian finished scolding, she and Wenwen were silent. After a while, Wenwen sighed softly and said, "Wenqian, do you want to call your father and show him your new clothes?" Lu Wenqian nodded desperately. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Let me fight." He was worried that Lu Ligan had already returned home at this time, and if Aunt Shahan saw Wenwen and called him at this point, there might be a misunderstanding. Wenwen seemed to know what Zhang Xiangbei was thinking, and she said yes. Zhang Xiangbei dialed Lu Lizan's phone and asked, "Uncle Zanzi, where are you?" "Still at your father's place, bragging with him, Bai Bei. Have you arrived in Ningyuan?" Lu Ligan asked. Zhang Xiangbei said that he felt that Lu Ligan had not gone back yet, and he was probably waiting for his call. "He felt sorry for my father and wanted to accompany him." Zhang Xiangbei laughed, and he put the phone was handed to Wenwen. Wenwen took her mobile phone and walked out. When she came back, the WeChat video on her mobile phone had been opened. She pointed the mobile phone towards Lu Wenqian. As soon as Lu Wenqian saw the screen, she screamed "Pop, pop, pop," and returned the phone to the phone. Lu Ligan looked at his new clothes. Lu Wenqian and Lu Ligan had a video chat for 5 minutes. Lu Ligan was mainly talking and asking questions. Lu Wenqian either shook her head vigorously or nodded vigorously, for fear that Lu Ligan on the screen could not see clearly. The two finally said goodbye. Wenwen handed the phone to Qian. Qian shook her head. Wenwen closed WeChat and returned the phone to Zhang Xiangbei. Qian and Wenwen said, "I'll take Wenqian, and you can accompany Bai Bei there." Wenwen said yes. She took Zhang Xiangbei to the fish restaurant, and opened the door of the box. The box was filled with smoke. As soon as the door was opened, thick smoke rushed out of the door, almost killing Wenwen. "Knocked down," Wenwen cursed. "You old smokers are burning the boiler here." 6 or 7 people in the box were laughing. Wenwen's cousin saw Zhang Xiangbei and shouted, "We have eaten 5 plates of salted peanuts. Mr. Zhang, you are finally here. Sit down quickly." Wenwen said to the waiter, "Hurry up and serve the food and wine." Wenwen and Zhang Xiangbei went in and sat down. Wenwen introduced them to each other, and Zhang Xiangbei shook hands with them one by one. The food and drinks were served immediately, and someone shouted, "Mr. Zhang will drink for free." Zhang Xiangbei said, "Okay, I'll eat a bowl of rice first to cushion my stomach. I haven't eaten dinner yet. Let's have a good drink after eating, okay?" Wenwen quickly asked the waiter to prepare the meal. When the meal was served, Zhang Xiangbei was indeed hungry and did not care about his image, or in other words, deliberately did not want to appear. He remembered what Wenwen told him on the phone earlier, "Zhang Xiangbei, you know, in this kind of situation, the less image conscious you are, the faster you can get along with everyone." Zhang Xiangbei finished the bowl of rice like a storm, and also ate several pieces of braised pork, specially choosing the fat ones. After eating, he felt at ease. He picked up the wine glass and told everyone that I was late. I should have come a long time ago, but unfortunately I am too busy. I don't have much else to say. I'll punish myself with 3 drinks first, okay? Everyone said yes. The drink was rice wine. Zhang Xiangbei drank 3 glasses first, and then started to toast one by one. He first played a round of clearance. Everyone present felt that this big boss was very refreshing. Not only did he not have any airs, he was also straightforward and happy. "Come on, let's not talk about work tonight. We'll start talking about work tomorrow. Today, let's drink and have a good time, okay?" Zhang Xiangbei said that his cousin took the lead and shouted, "Okay, let's just drink." Several people responded, "Then drink." Zhang Xiangbei stayed at the Hongling Reservoir for 4 days and settled everything. The agreements that needed to be signed were also signed. The other matters were left to Wen Wen and Qian. On the 4th, Zhang Xiangbei rushed back before the climax of his self-driving trip started. He had to rush to Yongcheng today, stay there for one night, and return to Hangzhou the next day. After this National Day holiday, it will soon be the day when community delivery in their three cities of Hangzhou, Shanghai, and Nanjing will be officially launched. This is the real challenge for their fresh home delivery, but fortunately, there are already more than 20 people ahead of them. Every day, the delivery to customers of the unit went smoothly, which gave Zhang Xiangbei and the others a lot of confidence. At dawn, Zhang Xiangbei was ready to leave. Wen Wen and Qian came to see him off with Lu Wenqian in their arms. The three of them walked with him to the parking lot below. Lu Wenqian looked like she hadn't woken up yet, and was sullen. But as soon as she knew Zhang Xiangbei was leaving, she burst into tears. Wen Wen smiled and said, "Bai Bei, I didn't expect you to be a kid." "He is also destined to be a woman," Qian said. "Those little girls in our hotel have been talking about him these days." "Like brother Zhang Chen," Wen Wen said. Qian nodded repeatedly. Wen Wen smiled and said, "We actually liked your father at that time, but it's a pity that your father already had your mother at that time." "Don't you?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. He wanted to say, "Don't you like Uncle Pole?" but he didn't say anything in the middle of the sentence. "That doesn't count." Wen Wen waved her hand in front of her face, but her eyes were already red, and then Qin's eyes were also red. Zhang Xiangbei sighed inwardly, "Forget it." He hugged Lu Wenqian and said to Wen Wen, "Qian, Aunt Wen Wen, Aunt Qian, if you have time, take Wenqian to Hangzhou to play. My dad misses you too, and he is very grateful to you." Wen Wen and Qian nodded quickly and said yes. Zhang Xiangbei returned to Hangzhou, but Zhang Chen and Xiaofang were no longer there. They went to the United States. Grandma gave him a folder and a USB flash drive. He opened the folder and took a look. It was designed by Zhang Chen for him. In the advertising sample, Zhang Xiangbei twisted the corner of his mouth and said with a smile, "Dad is still awesome." Zhang Xiangzi looked at him and asked, "Bai Bei, tell me, why is Dad so powerful?" Zhang Xiangbei showed the drawing in his hand to Zhang Xiangzi and said to her, "Look, this is what Dad painted. Does it look good?" Zhang Xiangzi stared at the painting, nodded his head, and laughed exaggeratedly. "Bai Bei, let me tell you, my teeth are almost falling out from laughing." "What's wrong?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. Zhang Xiangzi pointed to a person in the painting and said, "Look at Bai Bei, Dad drew a bald head, haha, it made me laugh so hard, Dad drew a bald chiang." Zhang Xiangbei and Xiaofang went to the United States this time, not during the Golden Week, but with a large group of people. In addition to the two of them, there were also Lu Yun, Lu Bang and his wife, Wang Minzheng, Lin Shuwen and Lao Tang, Lao Tan and Chu Tianlin, Lao Yang, Lu Ligan and Tan Shahen. This time they went to Black Forest Food, the founder of the Han Dynasty, and Wang Minzheng, and Lin Shuwen and his LinkedIn education were listed on the Nasdaq in the United States on October 5th and 8th respectively, 2 days apart. The last time Colorful Network was listed on Nasdaq, Zhang Chen had already been to New York once and felt that there was nothing good to go to. However, Han Emperor Lu Bang and Lin Shuwen insisted that he go. Han Emperor Lu Bang said, "Little brother, our company is listed, what do? You don't have to go." Lin Shuwen said, "I am just a brother like you must go." Zhang Chen can only go. As for Lu Ligan, as soon as Lu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han Dynasty, called him, he immediately said to go. He said, "I know what the Hong Kong Stock Exchange is like, but I don't know what Nasdaq is like. I must go and see it." Zhang Chen looked at Tan Shahen and Lu Ligan and said with a smile, "Okay, this time when I go to New York, I will take you to meet two people. Tan Shahen, I will take you to meet the person who had a crush on you before." Tan Shahen stared at Zhang Chen, not knowing what he was talking about. Zhang Chen said to Lu Ligan, "Don't be jealous. It's useless for you to be jealous. He is really a master of knives. You can't beat him." Xiao Fang was listening on the side and knew who Zhang Chen was talking about. Xiao Fang couldn't help but laugh. Zhang Xiangbei had lunch at home and was about to rush to the company. Grandma asked him if he would be back in the evening. Zhang Xiangbei thought for a moment and said, "Not necessarily." "Forget it, we'll just pretend you're on a business trip again," Grandma said. Lao Zhang said from the side, Go, bye-bye." He glanced at Zhang Chen's mother and said, "Have you forgotten that when you were young, you also ignored your family in this way in order to be a March 8th red flag bearer?" Zhang Chen's mother was stunned for a moment and glared at Lao Zhang. Zhang Xiangbei laughed and went out. Today, the renovation of their food factory was completed and production will begin tonight. Zhang Xiangbei wanted to go over and take a look. Zhang Xiangbei drove to the original Jiangxin Materials warehouse. Now, the entrance here has been replaced by the sign of Ban Mu Tian Logistic Space. Half of the houses inside are rented by Zhang Xiangbei and the other half is occupied by Master Kong, who went to Xiaosha. Rented. In the open space in the yard inside, a brand new glass sunroom of 600 to 700 square meters has been built. Inside are rows of shelves. The shelves are also newly made and are still empty. They are used to dry the pickled products. In this way, the sun can get in, but the dust won't. Zhang Xiangbei walked to their factory. He had to spray and disinfect before entering. He put on a white coat and put on shoe covers before he could go in. The green epoxy floor in the workshop had just been finished overtime. It has dried out today and is ready for use. A suspended ceiling has been added to it, and the walls have been repainted. They are 1.5 meters above the ground and have been tiled. There is a long row of stainless steel tables in the workshop, which are the workers' workbenches. The original warehouses were all opened up, and Zhang Xiangbei walked into the pickling workshop. The pickling workshop occupied 2 warehouses in total. There were rows of large vats neatly placed inside, including vegetables, chickens and ducks. The fish must be cleaned in the workshop outside, then marinated here, and then dried outside. Zhang Xiangbei walked into the highlight of their renovation, the baking workshop and packaging workshop. Although their products are mainly dried naturally, ovens are still indispensable. On continuous rainy days, or during the yellow plum season, sunlight is a rarity. You need to use an oven to dry the water first, so that it can be stored in a cold storage, and then continue to dry when there is sunlight. The place where the packaging assembly line is placed is still empty. The equipment has been ordered but has not arrived yet. Anyway, their products still have some days to go before they need to be packaged, so it will not affect production. A corner of the packaging workshop is their laboratory. Although their production technology is still traditional, they cannot produce like a small workshop. All formulas need to be standardized and unified, so as to ensure the consistency of product quality. All products must also undergo random inspections and can only leave the factory if they pass the inspection. Zhang Xiangbei walked around and saw Wu Huan and a middle-aged man walking in. This middle-aged man was the engineer Wu Huan hired from a well-known food factory. His surname was Gu. Zhang Xiangbei and the others were walking in. They all call him Gu Gong. Thank you to book friends 201805121221105118, Tamagotchi, and Fish Eating Brother for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 1974. Gu Gong is 42 years old this year. He is fat, even fatter than Sun Xiangyang. When Zhang Xiangbei saw him, he thought to himself, here comes another fat man. Compared with him, fatty Sun can only be fat or small at best. Fat. If a fat person has fair skin, he will look like an intellectual and more like a leader, but if he has dark skin, he will look like a chef or a butcher. Gu Gong belongs to the latter. In addition, he still has a crew cut, not the kind of slicked back hair. When talking to people, he doesn't like to stand or sit down to talk, but prefers to squat and talk, and he still speaks in an active manner, without saying a few words. He squatted down. The person talking to him could not stand and look down at him while talking, so he had to squat down too. For ordinary fat people, even squatting is very difficult. I didn't expect this fat man to like squatting so much. Sometimes Zhang Xiangbei would be in a trance while talking to him while squatting. He felt that if he stuffed another sea bowl in his hand, a pair of chopsticks, changing the background to the edge of the sidewalk, this is exactly the image of a migrant worker, from a few years ago. Even migrant workers now know that when they arrive in the city, they must stand and sit as they should. There is no such thing as squatting, especially when the other person is your boss. Gu Gong doesn't look like an intellectual at all, but he is a real intellectual. He is not a farmer, but a history student. He has a real master's degree in the history department of Fudan University. Go back to the furnace and get the degree for gold plating. When they saw his resume, graduation certificate, and degree certificate, Wu Huan and Zhang Xiangbei were both surprised. Zhang Xiangbei asked the consultant, how could you, a history student, come to work in the food industry? In Zhang Xiangbei's impression, shouldn't people like Gu Gong be like Zhou Ruyi before, going to museums and facing green-haired ancient coins or mummies every day? The reactions of Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan seemed to be expected by Gu Gong. He laughed and asked, a bit surprised, right? Zhang Xiangbei nodded, no, it's quite unexpected. Gu Gong said, when I graduated, I had two choices, one was to go to the Shanghai Museum, and the other was to stay and teach in school, but I didn't want to go. Both of these places were rotten, and I didn't want to rot with them. When we study history, we have a course called field work. I like doing that very much. If it weren't for supporting my family, or hundreds of years earlier, I would have been best suited to be a troubadour or a newspaper reader. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan both looked at him with some confusion. Gu Gong continued to explain. I can't write poetry, don't get me wrong, and neither can troubadours. They spread poetry, that is, they sing poems collected from various places. In fact, they are just jianghu entertainers, a bit like the current singing style. When the Western United States was developing, there were people who specialized in reading newspapers. They kept newspapers in their bags. Those newspapers were actually old newspapers from several weeks ago. They were strung together in small towns like this, in taverns. Read newspapers to the pioneers. Most of the pioneers were illiterate, and the illiterate people also wanted to know what was happening in the outside world. So after I graduated, I helped my classmates compile books. The classmates, holding the title of PhD and Master of Fudan University, wrote popular historical books for the publishing house. When I received the project, I was too lazy to write it, so I subcontracted it and wrote it myself. With the title of editor-in-chief, I will be assigned a few chapters, and I will help write them and get a small share of the royalties. My main job is to ride a broken motorcycle around the countryside. I am very interested in eating, especially those pickled foods in the countryside. They are so delicious. As a history student, I probably subconsciously feel that pickled food is so delicious. Food has a sense of history, so aren't bacon and bacon mummies of pigs. Wu Huan couldn't help but say hey, and Gu Gong laughed. Go on. Zhang Xiangbei became interested. He felt that the person in front of him was very interesting to him. It's very simple. Since they are delicious and I eat delicious food, I really want to know how they are made, so that I can make them myself in the future. There was no Dobeo.com for these local specialties at that time, so they were not as convenient as they are now. You won't be able to eat if you leave that place. Gugong said, picked up the backpack he brought, opened the bag cover, lifted the bag with both hands by the bottom, and with a swish sound, poured out large and small covers with different colors, patterns, and thicknesses from the bag. More than 20 notebooks of different sizes were spread out on the conference table. This is my result, Gugong said. Zhang Xiangbei asked, can I take a look? Gugong spread his hands and said, look at it as you like. I didn't create it. I'm just a recorder. Zhang Xiangbei picked up one of the notebooks and looked at it, and found that it was full of detailed preparation methods for various foods, including winemaking, cured meat and vegetables, and various dried foods, such as dried pumpkins, dried eggplants. The preparation methods of dried cowpeas and so on are written in great detail, from the raw materials to the pickling utensils, including whether to use sea salt or well salt, and what brands of salt and soy sauce are. If there is no brand, it will indicate where it was purchased from or where it was produced. Behind each record, there are details of which farmer's home in which county, which township, which village, where the food was eaten, and whose production process was witnessed with one's own eyes, as well as a simple description of the taste, plus a star rating of 1 to 10 stars. Some of them also record the producer's dictation at the back, which is like an oral history. Zhang Xiangbei counted silently and found that in the notebook he looked at alone, there were 22 ways to make bacon, as well as other foods. It was really rich and interesting. Zhang Xiangbei looked at Gugong and said, this is a treasure. Gugong nodded and said, yes, I just remembered it for fun at first, but later I did it consciously. I shamelessly added a nice word to what I did, saying it was collecting wind and food. Collecting style. Food collection, Zhang Xiangbei asked. Yes, when artists create creations, they must collect styles. The troubadours I mentioned earlier are actually doing the same thing. The entire book of songs is the result of collecting styles. But people, damn it, obviously eating is the most important thing. But I am embarrassed to shout out that gluttony is human nature, but everyone feels that gluttony is a sin. Obviously he is a glutton, but he must make himself a gourmet. He talks nonsense all day long and thinks it is a very high-level thing. He dare not say that eating itself is the most important thing. People are so hypocritical. Think about it, those who write books and engage in art, including leaders who like to talk nonsense and point fingers, all say that what they provide is spiritual food. Isn't it because food is important? Why do people have to be spiritual to be advanced? Isn't food alone high-end? Without food, you will be sallow and skinny even if you don't starve to death. At least you will be in a bad mood, right? I'll starve you for 3 days, give you a book to read, play some music for you to listen to, or let you listen to the leader talking. Can you be full? Bullshit. What kind of spiritual food? As Gugong said, both Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan laughed. Gugong himself also laughed. He said, I'm going too far. Let me answer Mr. Zhang's question again. Why are you doing this? Aren't you old? You need to start a family and raise children, so you need to find a job. I don't know how to do anything else. What schools and museums do you want to enter? There are exams coming up, and even at my age, they don't seem to take it seriously. I have no choice. I once read a newspaper and saw that my current company was recruiting technicians. I thought, technicians in this kind of food factory are just how to make food. I can do this, so I will go well. That company was actually just a small workshop with a dozen people at that time. I didn't hesitate when I saw the boss, so I made 3 kinds of sauced meat for him. I told him that after marinating for 5 days, I would dry it in the sun for 2 mornings and dry it in the shade at other times. If you think it tastes good, call me. Then she called me and I went. Zhang Xiangbei nodded and asked directly, if I want to dig you over, is that okay? Yes, if not, I won't come. Gu Gong also answered directly. What conditions do you have? Zhang Xiangbei asked. A monthly income of 25,000 is enough, Gu Gong said. My current salary is 20,000. I have asked for a salary increase several times, but the boss refused, so I don't want to continue working there. She probably thinks that the company is the product lines have been stabilized, and the formulas are the technical files of the factory, and she has mastered them. She has also recruited 2 young PhDs in food majors, so I am not that important anymore. Gu Gong spoke frankly, and Wu Huan also asked frankly, why do you require a monthly income of 25,000? 25,000 is dignity, Gu Gong said. Dignified? What do you mean? Zhang Xiangbei asked. 25,000 is enough for me to pay the monthly mortgage and support my family. When my son asks me for pocket money, I have money to give it to him. If my son asks you for pocket money, you can't even give it out, right? Very undignified. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan both laughed, and Zhang Xiangbei said, I'll give you 40,000, okay. 25,000 is enough, but if you want to give more, I have no objection, Gu Gong said. However, I have one more request. What's the request? Zhang Xiangbei asked. As long as it doesn't affect my work, I still have to ride my old motorcycle out for a spin. I need to get some air, Gu Gong said. Zhang Xiangbei said yes, but I also have a request. Say it, Mr. Zhang. Don't ride a motorcycle. It's not safe. I'll give you an off-road vehicle, okay? Gu Gong grinned. He was recruited on the spot by their fresh delivery service. After Gu Gong left, Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan said, why do I like this person so much? You two have the same chemistry, Wu Huan said. A non-traditional Yale University graduate met a non-traditional Fudan University master's student. Zhang Xiangbei laughed after hearing this. Gu Gong saw Zhang Xiangbei from afar and shouted, haha, Mr. Zhang, did you rush back today just to see the work starting here? Zhang Xiangbei said yes, how is it, are you ready? Gu Gong said, we are ready. On the HR side, the workers recruited seem to be too young. This is also my fault. I didn't tell them the requirements, so I told them how many workers were needed. Isn't it bad to be young? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Not good. Gu Gong squatted down as he spoke, and Zhang Xiangbei also squatted down. Wu Huan took a look and squatted down with them. The three of them squatted there, forming a triangle and chatting. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at one time and 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you to Mu Zi Tong, Hua Xi and Yang Xiao, Distressed Brother Ming, Book Friends 13021415330428, Book Friends 201707121653544432, Very Careful 333, Lao De Bao Ei, Zipanjiang 1, Gu Zio Kaiokio for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1975. The right person in the right position is the best, Gu Gong said. Those little boys and girls, even if they are semi-literate themselves, they think that their abilities are beyond the sky. All day long, there will always be someone. There is a feeling of being unappreciated, and looking down on ordinary work. Either I am too tired, I think I have too little money, or I think I have no future. 99% of the people in this world have no future. They just live. Generation after generation, those who have a future but no future are all dead. So what if it's Emperor Qin and Han Wu? But these children can't think of it. I understand, I thought the world belonged to them, but they didn't know that they were already out from the world from the day they were born. You ask them to pickle pickled vegetables, and they don't want to work the night shift. You also like to tell you that soldiers who don't want to be marshals are not good soldiers. Have you forgotten that all marshals started out as soldiers? Only those who can be good soldiers have the possibility of becoming a marshal. Although this possibility is very slim. Only one of hundreds of thousands can become a marshal. For a good soldier, his possibility is only one in hundreds of thousands. For you, but your probability is negative. When Gugong said this, he turned his head and sighed, as if the person who said this was right in front of him. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan looked at it and couldn't help but smile. Forget it, let's adjust slowly. It is estimated that most of the people who come now have not worked for a long time. It is not that they have not worked for a long time here, but they have not worked for a long time anywhere. He feels that his talents cannot be used anywhere. Gugong continued explain. You're really a loser, Gugong, Zhang Xiangbei said with a smile. Gugong also laughed and said, it's not my fault, it's just the fact. Just wait and see. If people just rely on management, they won't be able to manage well. They still need to have some consciousness. Besides, there will be a lot of sad faces and bitter faces. How can the dishes made by people with deep hatred be delicious? Pickles also have spirituality. In the past, when people made pickles, they would step on the sweet potatoes and sing at the same time. Just like the French and Japanese, who want to listen to music for grapes and Weijio cattle, Zhang Xiangbei asked. Yes, that's it. There are some things that are very subtle and our understanding is too shallow. Mutai Distillery used to go to Beijing to set up a branch. The masters and techniques were the same, and the raw materials were also shipped from Yunnan. But the wine produced has completely changed. There is nothing we can do about it, so we have to give up, Gugong said. Wu Huan asked, Gugong, what kind of person do you want? Illiterates in their 40s and 50s are the best, but now there are fewer illiterates. Rural women in their 40s and 50s who work with their husbands are the best. In addition to cleaners, hotel kitchen helpers, and construction site workers, she can't find other good jobs. People think she is too old to be a salesperson. It is easier for such a person to be satisfied. They can endure hardships. As long as the wages here are good and they can be paid on time every month, and in such a clean and tidy environment, they will cherish this job and be very calm when working. It won't be so rough, and besides, we don't do strenuous physical work, so we don't need to be young. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan felt that Gugong's words were reasonable. Wu Huan said, okay, I will ask the personnel to recruit them again, and I will follow your request. Although Gugong is nominally the engineer of their food factory, because he is right next door, there is no need to set up a separate management team, so the food factory is actually all managed by him. This is also the reason why Zhang Xiangbei and others want to put the food factory and Zaixian delivery together. In addition to the convenience of material transportation, the most important thing is not to set up another team and have financial and sales staff. Now, for enterprises, the biggest expense is headcount. If headcount can be saved, costs will come down. Zhang Xiangbei originally wanted to appoint Gugong as the general manager of their food department. Gugong said no, so Gugong can do it. Where I used to be, everyone also called me Gugong, and I like people to call me Gugong. Why? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Do you know the poet Gu Cheng? Gugong asked. Both Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan said that they knew the name but had not read the poem. It's normal. You are young. When our generation went to college, who didn't read Gu Cheng Shu Ting Bideo? Gugong said. Wu Huan asked, what does this have to do with Gu Cheng? Gugong smiled slyly. Gu Cheng's father is also a poet, and his name is Gugong. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan couldn't bear it. They sat there with their heads almost hitting the conference table. "One more question," Mr. Zhang Gugong squatted there and said to Zhang Xiangbei. "What's the problem?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "You have to set a general direction for me," Gugong said, "that is, do our products need to be made into mass-market products, or high-quality products, suitable for gifts or airline food? Does this make a difference?" The difference is huge. Different products have different material selections and processes, as well as different packaging. Gugong continued, "For example, it is also a ham. It is a pity that Jinhua ham is a mixed bag now, and most of them are shoddy. It has ruined the Jinhua ham brand. Originally, we had Jinhua ham, Suanwei ham, and Norton ham in China. There should be no market for Spanish and Italian ham, we surrendered ourselves. Nowadays, 1-year-old ham cannot be eaten. It is just bacon and has no aroma. Why? In a hurry for quick success, they all use ovens. Hams made in ovens will not be left for a long time, and the inside will become moldy and empty. There is a smell of oyster, and only the sun-dried ham becomes more and more fragrant. Foreigners are more rigid. How they made ham 100 years ago will still be how they make it 100 years later. Their hams are not out of shape. Our current ham production process is different from what it was 20 or 30 years ago. It is said that process improvement actually has only one purpose, which is to save time. Either the improvement is good or the improvement is not good. In this way, if a foreigner kicks in, there will be no rivals. Who can you blame? I am going to make a batch of ham according to traditional techniques this year. You can take a look when you get there. You can also give it away. I guarantee that everyone who eats it everyone will say that in my whole life, I have never tasted such delicious ham. Why can I only give it away? Wu Huan asked. If you can't sell it, the cost will be high, and the price will be high. No one will buy it. When people compare it on Diabeo.com, we are definitely the most expensive, Gugong said. We will sell it ourselves, Zhang Xiangbei said. Since Spanish ham is so expensive and the market response is so good, I don't believe that as long as the ham from our Zaixian is good, no one will want it. Let's sell it. The brand name is Zaixiangzi, an ancient craft ham. Zhang Xiangbei said, and we have this condition. As you said before, Gugong, our product positioning is to make high-quality products. We have the conditions. Think about it, we have so many agreement units. In another year, we will be the best in the country. There are at least hundreds of thousands of contracted units. These units give gifts every year and festival. Is it best to give away agricultural products? The demand for this area alone is huge, as long as our products have excellent taste and quality. We still have so many high-end hotels, and they have very high requirements for raw materials. As long as we recommend it to them, I think they will be happy to purchase it. Wu Huan nodded, feeling that this was indeed their advantage. As long as Zaixian delivery got a reputation in these units, then, even if the same product is priced more expensive than others, these units will believe that it's expensive for a reason. Okay, I get it, Gugong said with a smile. To be honest, I don't like making junk goods. There is no sense of accomplishment in doing that kind of thing. Don't worry, I promise to make the best products and launch them frequently. New. Zhang Xiangbei said, yes, just do it boldly. This ham is not bragging. After I make it, you can do a blind test. It can also be eaten raw. You can compare it with Spanish Iberian ham to see who tastes better, Gugong said. Zhang Xiangbei nodded, I'm waiting for this day. By the way, Mr. Zhang, if I want to order pigs, I need to use 2 black pigs from Jinhua. They can't eat pig feed. They can only eat pig grass, rice bran, and wheat bran, Gugong said. I know a few pigs who raise pigs, pig farmers, they can raise them. Zhang Xiangbei said, yes, you can book it. A group of newly recruited laboratory technicians arrived. Gugong stood up. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan also stood up. Gu Gong went to arrange their work. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan went back to the Zaixian opposite. Deliver. The car stopped here. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan walked over. On the way, Wu Huan said, "It's a good shot." "What's the match?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "This Gu Gong, here, is in line with our fresh home delivery. I was really afraid of what you said earlier. Anyway, we just want to convert inventory, and we don't expect the food factory to make much money for us. We can just sell it for mass distribution," Wu Huan said. "Am I such a person?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "No, but smart people can be confused sometimes," Wu Huan said with a smile. Although it is still the National Day holiday, they are even busier than before with fresh food delivered to home. People in every department are working overtime. Those government agencies and schools are on holiday, but the business of hotels, guest houses, and restaurants has increased several times. Hangzhou, Shanghai, and Nanjing are all areas with a net inflow of people during the National Day. Hotels are turning over one after another, but they still cannot cope with the people waiting to eat. Like the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel, they all have lunch and dinner. The people eating lunch here haven't finished yet, and the people eating dinner have already arrived. Hotels and restaurants are busy, and they are busy with fresh delivery. Where they used to deliver once a day, they now have to deliver at least twice. For example, Tuxianjiayuan Hotel has to deliver 3 times a day, otherwise they will deliver too much at once. The hotel's kitchen can't hold so many dishes, and the sink can't be cleaned. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan finally understood that their home delivery not only needs to be delivered 24 hours a day, but also all year round. Even if it is the first day of the new year, you still need delivery. Thank you. Yuan Lai is your monthly pass for W, Dao Dueng, Feng Xiubiantian, and Hu Hu. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening, everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 1976. Wen Wen and Zhou Ruyi both called Zhang Xiangbei and told him that their two sides were making rapid progress, with many agreement units signing every day. They had even begun to contact the communities, and there were already some communities that agreed to cooperate. Quite a few, there are dozens of communities and property companies under each community, and they have signed many agreements with the property companies. Now, the only question is whether it can be launched as soon as possible. This is also the requirement of those units that have signed agreements. Whether it is units in Beijing, Tianjin, or units in Guangzhou, Shenzhen, they will be inextricably linked with units in Shanghai, Nanjing, and Hangzhou. The boss of the unit knows these 3 cities. Delivery has started, and I will call to inquire. What I told them on the phone is that it is very good, and it saves a lot of money and trouble. Zhang Xiangbei also wants to launch Wen Wen and Zhou Ruyi's business in the north and south as soon as possible after the community fresh food delivery in Hangzhou, Shanghai, and Nanjing is launched. In this way, they have completed an important layout and are the most economically developed country in China. Having established a foothold in the Pearl River Delta, Yangtze River Delta and Beijing-Tianjin regions, it will become easy to expand from these 3 places to surrounding cities. However, the workshop renovation in these places is still in progress, which cannot be done quickly even if they want to. Before the transformation of their production workshops is completed, they cannot start distribution. Zhang Xiangbei and his colleagues estimate that it will take at least 2 months to complete the renovation of the production workshop, equipment installation, and personnel training. Zhang Xiangbei discussed with Wu Huan. He said that personnel training in these 2 places can be started first. Let Wen Wen and Zhou Ruyi recruit a group of key personnel first, send them to Hangzhou, and assign them to each department. Follow the internship so that when they return, they can hit the ground running and help train new hires. Although by that time, these people themselves are still new employees who have only been in the company for a few months, we must treat them as old employees and key employees. Since we are a newly established company, we can only let them age quickly. Wu Huan said yes, and she also felt that this arrangement was very safe. Otherwise, thousands of employees in each place would be newly recruited, which would be a terrible thing. After all, Beijing and Guangzhou are not Hangzhou, Shanghai, and Nanjing. Hangzhou is where they are watching the scene. Shanghai and Nanjing have also sent as many people as they can. In these three cities, they already feel that they are stretched thin. At that time, it will be almost impossible to transfer personnel from these three places. Wu Huan gave Wenwen and Zhou Ruyi instructions to recruit 100 employees in each city, a total of 400, and sent them to Hangzhou. After intensive training in Hangzhou, they were dispersed to 3 cities for internships. Let them learn the ability to cope with and deal with problems in practice, and at the same time, it can also make up for the shortage of manpower in these 3 places after community distribution is started. Although they are recruiting every day and new personnel join every day, people are not carrots after all. It is not that easy to recruit people, and it is not that fast for them to adapt to this environment. In addition, there is the problem that Gu Gong mentioned. Among the people recruited, there will inevitably always be a certain proportion of people who, depending on how high the mountain is, will not stay in any company for long. While these people are doing their job, they will leave automatically for no apparent reason. Wu Huan thought about it. People who came to intern in these cities can go back in batches as their workshops are renovated and business development progresses. This can reduce the pressure on Wenwen and Zhou Ruyi. Unlike the unit distribution system that goes online early in the morning, the community distribution system is scheduled to be officially released at noon. The format and content of the website are actually the same. The only difference is that the price for unit customers is about 10% different from the price for community distribution. Difference. After the community delivery system is launched, the 2 websites will be merged into one, except that in the upper right corner, there is a button for corporate customers. Click on it, enter your username and password, and enter the corporate customer interface. The reason why we set the time to go online at noon is that firstly, we consider that home users generally don't think about what to eat the next day until the afternoon, especially at night. At the same time, Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan were not sure. They don't know how many orders will come in next. This is a completely new territory for them, and it is more difficult to predict than corporate customers. After all, corporate customers have signed agreements. They know how many units there are that have signed agreements, and how many families will choose them. Completely bottomless. Going online from noon also shortens the time relatively. They don't want to flood in too many orders at once. After all, delivery also starts on the first day. Whether their community delivery team can withstand the test is still unknown. The Zaixian delivery website was launched at 12 noon on October 10. It was written on the promotional materials they distributed in building elevator advertisements and radio advertisements, including community promotions. Zhang Xiangbei had lunch early and went to the technical center. When he saw Wu Yu, Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Are you ready?" "Okay, all that's left is the enter key." Wu Yu and Zhang Xiangbei said, "Mr. Zhang, do you want you to press it?" Zhang Xiangbei shook his head and said, "No, it's up to you to come up with your results. I'll go to the conference room." Wu Yu said yes. Zhang Xiangbei walked to the conference room. Wu Huan and Li Wei were already sitting here. On the screen on the wall, the bosses of their Shanghai and Nanjing branches had entered the camera. Wenwen and Xiaoe, as well as Zhou Ruyi and Sun Xiangyang, and the bosses of their other branches are already online, and everyone is waiting for this moment. Wenwen asked Zhang Xiangbei, "Mr. Zhang, can I live broadcast?" Zhang Xiangbei said yes. After 12 o'clock, their company would have no secrets and they would be completely exposed to the public and all their potential competitors. Wenwen said, "Then you have to keep smiling, I want my fans to see how strong our company is. When it's critical, you can insert our company's VCR, Zhang Xiangbei said. That's right, I forgot if you didn't tell me, Wen Wen said. Also starting from today, Zhang Xiangbei and his Zaixian delivery advertisement will be broadcast nationwide online, on Weibo, WeChat and live broadcast platforms. There are more than 200 big VS on Weibo, from entertainment stars to various industries. Elite, all live broadcasts on Colorful Network will launch their efforts on the same day today, so that the mercury of home fresh delivery will be as pervasive as the ground. At 12 o'clock sharp, the home fresh delivery page appeared on the screens of Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan's mobile phones and the laptop in front of them. Zhang Xiangbei quickly opened the background data and took a breath. He saw that almost at the same moment the website was launched, more than 10,000 people logged into their home fresh delivery website. These people were obviously waiting. Then, the number climbed rapidly, and soon exceeded 50,000. By 12:15, it had exceeded 100,000. At 16 minutes, 127 orders came in almost at the same second, and then too the numbers are rising rapidly. There was silence in the conference room and on the screen. Everyone was staring at their mobile phones and computers. At 12:28, Wen Wen cried out in a tearful voice. It's great, it's over 50,000. Did you see, my dears, that our company website has only been online for 28 minutes, and the orders have already exceeded 50,000. Only then did Zhang Xiangbei think that Wen Wen was still broadcasting live. He quickly made a gesture to Wen Wen. Wen Wen understood and said, "Baby, I'm going to have a meeting and show you our company." She inserted the VCR of Zaixian delivery. Zhang Xiangbei looked at the people in the conference room. Everyone laughed, and then there was applause both inside and outside the screen. Wu Yu came in and sat down in the conference room. He told Zhang Xiangbei that a strange situation had occurred. "What's going on?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "The number of registered unit users suddenly increased dramatically," Wu Yu said. "How could this happen?" Li Wei asked. "I don't know, but the data doesn't lie. In just 1 hour, more than 1,000 institutional users were added, and now the total number has reached more than 23,600, Wu Yu said. Zhang Xiangbei thought for a moment and understood. He said, "It's not surprising. There are many units that we have not signed agreements with." He saw them today and applied for registration. "Have you called the police now?" "Not yet, it's still within the safe range," Wu Yu said. Zhang Chen was worried about another thing. As orders continue to increase, their system will automatically count each order and compare the demand for each variety of vegetables on the order with the number of vegetables they still have on the way. Once the demand is approaching, it can be supplied. When measuring, the system will automatically alarm. Home users are an unknown quantity to them, but they have made preparations. However, they did not expect that so many institutional customers would be added at the same time today. Zhang Xiangbei predicted that today's orders from institutional customers would exceed their original number. Plan, and the order volume of one unit customer is equivalent to the orders of dozens or even hundreds of household users. Zhang Xiangbei is worried that their vegetable supply will become a problem again today. By 1:30 in the afternoon, the orders from individual users have reached more than 113,000, and it is not the climax yet. It will be after dinner. Press Zhang Xiangbei feels that the current trend is a bit confusing. Because the food factory has started production, when arranging today's orders, they have relaxed the estimated number of household users to 300,000 units, but the increase in these unit orders has made this number conservative. "Mr. Zhang, Mr. Wu, I'm in trouble here." At about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Mr. Ding from the Shanghai company shouted. "What's wrong?" Wu Huan asked. "There are already communities where the number of orders exceeds the number of our fresh keeping cabinets," Mr. Ding said. Zhang Xiangbei felt shocked as he listened. This was another shortcoming of theirs. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you for your monthly votes from Zhengzi, Yuechwenki, Tianying 1978, Windenwing, Su Yuenian, Void Broken Dream, Guandian Electrical, Fang L, and Buletin Dexian. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 1977. The total number of fresh cabinets they have in the 3 cities can already meet the needs of 300,000 families. When they are released, they are also released according to the proportion of residents in the community, which can theoretically meet the needs of users. But in reality, the situation of each community is very different. A lot of data is not even available to the property owners, let alone them. New properties are better. They can set proportionally according to the occupancy rate of the community. For those who have already, it is difficult to deal with communities that have been built for a few years. The situation in different communities is different. Generally speaking, if the proportion of rental housing in this community is high, the demand will decrease, but it is not necessarily the case. There should be more young people, and the demand will be less. After all, young people would rather order takeout than bother to cook for themselves. As there are many older people, the demand may be reduced. They will not place orders online and are unwilling to make phone calls. Some people stubbornly believe that the food must be placed in front of them and pinched with their hands. They don't know whether it's fresh or not, and some people just like to stand in front of the vegetable stalls and pick and choose. The situation varies. Their fresh keeping cabinet has 24 compartments in each cabinet. Due to the different situations of the residents, in some buildings, only half or less of the compartments are used, while in some buildings, it is not enough. Even one fresh keeping cabinet only has if a customer uses it. You can't just move the cabinet to another place. Just because no one is using those empty grids now, it doesn't mean that no one will use them at night, and it doesn't mean that no one will use them tomorrow. On the contrary, there are few people using them, but it may be that their publicity in this community is not enough and they need their business representatives. Go to the field to understand what is going on, and strengthen promotion instead of moving the cabinets away. The current reality is that not only in Shanghai, Nanjing, and Hangzhou, there are also communities where the fresh cabinet grids are full and there is an urgent need to add new fresh cabinets. Zhang Xiangbei picked up the phone, called Shentu Hanjian, and told Shentu Hanjian about the situation here. Shentu Hanjian immediately said, "Bai Bei, I have already finished 426 units here, and there are still many semi-finished products. I work overtime at night, and I can drive out more than 200 units tomorrow. Tell me where they need to be sent, and I will load them right away. Send it out and you can arrive in Shanghai or Nanjing before 12 o'clock in the evening." Zhang Xiangbei said quickly, "Thank you, Aunt Hanjian, I will calculate it and send it to you right away." After hanging up the phone, Zhang Xiangbei told everyone that there was no need to subdivide the goods. To seize the time, Shanghai would send 200 units, and another 226 units would be distributed to Hangzhou and Nanjing. The goods would be uniformly sent to the logistic space. "You guys, is it okay to send them to whichever community is in short supply overnight?" Mr. Ding and the others agreed, and Wu Huan told everyone, "Let's say hello to the property management of the community first. Don't go there in the middle of the night and be unable to get us in." Zhang Xiangbei was right. Also, if you need to connect the power supply separately, send someone to pick it up immediately. Mr. Ding and the others made it clear. Zhang Xiangbei picked up the phone, called Shentu Hanjian, told her the distribution plan, and asked her to arrange loading of the truck immediately. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Aunt Hanjian. Bai Bei, I understand. Nanjing is the farthest. Let's pretend to be from Nanjing first, right? Shentu Hanjian asked. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, that's what I was going to say. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Xiangbei breathed a sigh of relief, but he only had time to breathe. Next, he still had to worry about the supply problem. He sighed and said to Wu Huan, let everyone be prepared. If it doesn't work, we may still have to outsource today. After the food factory started working, they had already increased their purchases and no longer needed outsourcing. Unexpectedly, they would have to go back today. Zhang Xiangbei, Lin Kunfen from Guangdong, Lu Dihua from Shaoguang, and Xiao Guang from Erhuo's hometown said. It's too late now for Ningxia and Yunnan and Hebei. You three places should prepare immediately to increase purchasing volume. Tell the vegetable farmers who cooperate with you to let them work hard. You may have to increase purchasing volume today. In the evening just send it out, the specific variety and quantity will be sent to your mobile phone in 10 minutes. The three of them agreed and left immediately to make arrangements. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan immediately started counting. Zhang Xiangbei said that they would mainly count the orders of new unit customers today and then release the remaining balance. The new additional order came out immediately, and Wu Huan sent it to Lin Kunfen and the others. Zhang Xiangbei stood up and walked to the dispatch center. After the last time a car of green onions broke down on the road, bad things turned into good things. From that day on, they often adjusted the vehicles on the road according to the order situation. Changed the destination, which reduced their inventory significantly. At around 6 o'clock in the evening, the orders from family customers exceeded 200,000. At around 8 o'clock in the evening, just like the corporate customers, the orders from family customers also reached a climax. This was after everyone had dinner. The dishes were washed and the kitchen was tidied up. Everyone sat down on the sofa and started thinking about what to eat tomorrow. After 9 o'clock, there are basically no orders from institutional customers. Although the number of orders from family customers has been greatly reduced, they are still increasing. This is the difference between family customers and corporate customers. As long as you do not set an order. If there is a deadline, people will keep placing orders, and their fresh delivery has no deadline. By 10 o'clock in the evening, the personnel they sent out to the wholesale market had already started purchasing, and the orders from household customers had reached more than 283,000. Wu Huan looked at Zhang Xiangbei and said with a wry smile, what a risk. Zhang Xiangbei's cell phone rang. It was Mr. Ding from Shanghai. Zhang Xiangbei picked up the phone. Mr. Ding told him that the fresh keeping cabinet had arrived and I would immediately arrange for someone to install it. Zhang Xiangbei asked, are there enough manpower? If not, go to the second manager and ask him to send someone to help you. Mr. Ding said okay, they know how to pretend anyway. I went to find him, he had already been here before. Zhang Xiangbei joked with Mr. Ding, I hope you don't have to call me again today. Mr. Ding quickly said, work hard, work hard. The three places have already started delivering to the communities. At this time, if they let their own people deliver the fresh keeping cabinets to various communities, manpower will definitely be tight. Zhang Xiangbei had called the second goods earlier, and the second goods were also the following three logistics bases have been handed over to ask their people to help. Zhang Xiangbei walked to the workshop below and saw Gu Gong here. When he saw Zhang Xiangbei, Gu Gong said to him, there's not enough food to sell today, and there's nothing going on over there. I asked them to come over and help. Zhang Chen looked around and saw that more than 30 people from the food factory were helping to load the truck, and those who originally loaded the truck had already gone to deliver the fresh keeping cabinets. Zhang Xiangbei walked to the cleaning workshop and saw Li Wei and several customer service personnel helping here. Zhang Xiangbei asked why you are here. There's nothing going on upstairs right now. We're tight here, So come over and help. Li Wei said that this was the peak time for their vegetable carts to arrive. Zhang Xiangbei felt that every department was disrupted today, and personnel were being redeployed here and there, but the overall situation was still in order, which he thought was good. Zhang Xiangbei's phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was still Mr. Ding. His heart skipped a beat, knowing that calling him at this time would definitely be up to no good. Zhang Xiangbei answered the phone, and Mr. Ding's breathless voice came from the phone. "I'm sorry, Mr. Zhang, I have no choice but to call you." "What's wrong?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "Orders are still increasing. I have included all the fresh keeping cabinets that arrived tonight. It seems there is still not enough." "Mr. Zhang, I have no choice, can you close my door in Shanghai and stop taking orders?" Mr. Ding asked. No, when Zhang Xiangbei heard this, he immediately rejected it. He said, "What happens if someone logs onto our website for the first time and wants to place an order but can't? The first impression must be very bad. They will feel that this is not possible. It's a company that deceives people, so what kind of trust can there be?" What's even more ironic is that when he went online, he saw our ads everywhere, and he didn't know how many times he wanted to scold us. "What should we do?" Mr. Ding said distressedly. "It's impossible for us to put the dishes of two families into one grid, right?" Zhang Xiangbei said, "Let me think about it and I will tell you the answer later." Mr. Ding said yes. Zhang Xiangbei walked back upstairs. As soon as he reached the hall, Wu Huan came to greet him from the hall and asked him, "Has Mr. Ding called you?" Zhang Xiangbei nodded. It's no wonder that he is under the greatest pressure today. The orders from one place in Shanghai are almost as much as those in Hangzhou and Nanjing combined, Wu Huan said. Not only are there huge differences between communities, but there are also huge differences between cities. Zhang Xiangbei and the others did not expect that the difference between Shanghai and Nanjing Hangcheng would be so big. It seems that Shanghai Nessa are the most receptive to online grocery shopping. I was worried that there wouldn't be enough manpower there, but fortunately, the second president sent someone to help. The second president and his wife have already passed by themselves, but what else can be done about this CRISPR? Wu Huan shook his head and asked. Yes, a fresh keeping cabinet is a fresh keeping cabinet. If you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, you don't have it. What else can you think of? Zhang Xiangbei didn't say a word and walked away. He walked into his office, closed the door, sat down on the sofa, and stared out the window blankly. The logistics space in the middle of the night was as bright as day, and the rumble of large trucks coming and going was heard. Came in through the closed window. Zhang Xiangbei sat and thought for a while, feeling that his mind was a mess. He picked up his mobile phone and looked at it. There was a message from Xiang Nan on WeChat. It was too noisy down there in front of him, so Zhang Xiangbei didn't hear it. Nan asked him how he was doing, but Zhang Xiangbei didn't type, but directly pressed the video call. Xiangnan picked up the answer immediately. She saw Zhang Xiangbei on the screen looking a little tired. Xiangnan felt a little distressed and asked. Zhang Xiangbei, you don't look good. What's wrong? Zhang Xiangbei laughed and said quickly, it's okay, it's just that I have a lot of things to do today and I'm a little tired. How are you today? Xiang Nan asked. The effect is better than we expected, but there is also a problem, Zhang Xiangbei said with a wry smile. What's wrong? In Shanghai, the number of orders has exceeded the number of our fresh keeping cabinets, and orders are still increasing, Zhang Xiangbei said. What should we do? Xiang Nan asked. If it doesn't work, just stop taking orders. I rejected Lao Ding's suggestion before. Now it's no longer a matter of stopping taking orders. Without the fresh keeping cabinet, some orders will be scrapped, Zhang Xiangbei said. Xiang Nan also knew the seriousness of this matter. If the order was cancelled, it would be like someone who bought their theater tickets, but when they walked to the theater door, they were not allowed to enter, and they refunded the same price as the ticket. They would not be scolded. Bloody head. What should we do? Xiang Nan asked. Zhang Xiangbei said, I don't know either, I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, I won't talk to you anymore, Zhang Xiangbei, just think about it. If you call me and tell me no matter what time you think about it, I won't be able to sleep well, Xiangnan said. Zhang Xiangbei said yes. After hanging up the phone to Xiangnan, Zhang Xiangbei walked to the bathroom, picked up the shower faucet, turned on the valve to cold water, and poured it on his head. He felt that his scalp was already tight. The valve is closed. He picked up a towel, wiped his head haphazardly twice, walked out, walked to the window, and watched the cars coming and going in the parking lot outside. He felt that his mind was clear. Zhang Xiangbei looked at it, and suddenly his eyes lit up. He quickly picked up his mobile phone and called Mr. Ding. Zhang Xiangbei said, Old Ding, there will be more than 200 fresh keeping cabinets tomorrow, all for you in Shanghai. Just hold on today. How do you persist? Mr. Ding asked. Zhang Xiangbei said, for communities that don't have enough fresh keeping cabinets, you can readjust it and put the ones with required delivery time at the back, and the ones in the front will be sent out first, and finally, those that haven't been sent out yet will be put in the cold chain on the car, park it in the community, wait until there is a space available, and use it immediately. If there are customers who want to get the goods in advance, call them, and you will pick them up from the cold chain truck and deliver them directly to their doorsteps. Thank you to Zhongzhong's Hiling, Jinwalong Gai, Shuangling Xiao, Huhu, GH777, Daodu, Book Friends 535103, Zi Zhengzi for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 1978. After the Zaixian Delivery Community Distribution System was officially launched, the number of corporate customers and household customers has been increasing every day. Shentu Hongjian and several other factories are delivering fresh cabinets to Hangzhou, Shanghai, and Nanjing every day. Shentu Hongjian and Zhang Xiangbei said, I have stopped all other orders, and I have not done any foreign trade orders from Kioxin. I will just make your product. Otherwise, it will be too late when Beijing and Guangzhou start to develop. Zhang Xiangbei said okay, thank you Aunt Hongjian, I will leave it to you for the fresh keeping cabinet. They develop city by city. Every time they develop a city, they need a large number of fresh keeping cabinets. If they don't have enough vegetables, they can increase their purchases. If they don't have enough delivery personnel, they can add more people and vehicles. These are all very fast. Only this fresh keeping cabinet, it must be made one by one. As long as the fresh cabinets are not ready, they will have no way to carry out community distribution. The fresh keeping cabinet has indeed become a bottleneck for them. Fortunately, the Yuwu people themselves are very hard-working. Shentu Hongjian and Zhang Xiangbei have an unusual relationship. They completely regard Zhang Xiangbei's affairs as their own business. Xiangbei was anxious. She was even more anxious than Zhang Xiangbei. She tried every means to expand production. Not only her own factory, but also the factories of her ladies were activated. Shentu Hongjian called Su Kioxin and asked Su Kioxin not to send new orders to their factories. Su Kioxin asked why. Shentu Hongjian told her the matter, and Su Kioxin said, okay, I'll give it to you. We're all from the same company. We still have shares in the company called Zaixian Shui. You still have your husband there, Shentu Hongjian laughed and hung up the phone. Su Kioxin had no choice but to transfer the foreign trade orders in their hands to other factories. Zhang Xiangbei asked Li Wei and others to conduct a survey online. He found that 21.5% of their new customers became their members through introductions from relatives and friends. This ratio is not low. Zhang Xiangbei felt relieved, knowing that not only their advertising had an effect, but also word of mouth. For platform companies like them, customer recognition and stickiness are the most important. Online customers gather quickly, but they disperse very quickly. No matter how awesome a website is, if it collapses, it doesn't even take a year, no matter how glorious you were a year ago. And when everyone starts to stay away from your website, he will ruthlessly delete your app from his mobile phone. He feels that when he opens his mobile phone and sees you, he is offended and annoyed. This trend will also be like an ulcer wound, the damage will expand rapidly, and it will be too late to stop the loss. Zhang Xiangbei feels that he is walking on thin ice every day. He looked at the bustling factory below, the office with people coming and going around him, and the orders that were flying in like flakes, but he didn't feel any sense of success at all. When he was not running a business, he could be carefree every day. After running a business, his mind was not so stable. He always had a vague feeling that there was a thunder not far away, waiting for him to eliminate it. If he did not eliminate it, it will explode at any moment. And where exactly this thunder is, Zhang Xiangbei can't see or touch it. Although Gu Gong is more than 10 years older than Zhang Xiangbei, the two of them get along very well. When he is not on duty at night, Gu Gong is often not in a hurry to go home after work. He says that his son has his wife to take care of his homework anyway, so there is no need for him. Guan, as for Zhang Xiangbei, he has no concept of commuting at all. When he goes home, he always feels panicked, but when he stays in the office, he feels at ease. Gu Gong often goes to the canteen, cooks a few dishes with his own hands, and then comes to have a drink with Zhang Xiangbei. The dishes he cooks are indeed delicious. Gu Gong himself said proudly, "I think the most valuable thing in me is not my brain, but my brain. It's this mouth." Zhang Xiangbei laughed and said, "Dishes are made by hand, you should praise your skill." "That's right, food must be eaten," Gu Gong said. "Who can't cook? Anyone who can pour things into the pot and know the difference between salt and sugar, vinegar and soy sauce can cook. If you can't, you can still cook. There is Baidu, where you can search for recipes for any dish. It's not unusual to make a dish. The difference is whether it tastes good or not. To cook delicious dishes, you must first have a sensitive mouth that can taste good and bad. Then, by trying again and again, you can find the most delicious one and learn how to cook it. Then, you can improve your skills by drawing on analogies. My mouth is very sensitive and tricky." Zhang Xiangbei said, "Okay, that makes sense." It was starting to get a little cold. What they drank was rice wine brewed by Gu Gong himself. It was very mellow. They poured the wine into an electric kettle, heated it up a little, and started drinking. As soon as they drank the wine, the two of them forgot about their age and age. In the relationship between superiors and subordinates, almost everything is discussed. Every time, on the coffee table in front of them, there will be vegetables pickled by Gu Gong himself, which he brought from his own home. The vegetables from their food factory have not yet arrived and are not delicious. Every time Zhang Xiangbei sees Gu Gong coming, he has a little expectation. He wonders what good things he will bring today. Gu Gong and Zhang Xiangbei said that when people buy a new house, they will arrange a study room. As a master of history, I don't have a single book at home. Except for my son's textbooks and extracurricular books, I don't have any books. I even participated in writing them myself. I don't even keep a single book at home. I don't need a study. I built a workshop, and the shelves inside are filled with various jars, and seasonings. Every time Gu Gong brought something, he cooked it at home. Zhang Xiangbei asked him how many kinds of vegetables he had cooked. "I don't know, I can't remember clearly." Gu Gong shook his head and said, "I also have a wine cabinet, but there is no wine in the wine cabinet. There are all kinds of cured meats in it. I found that I use the wine cabinet to store cured meats. The best. There should be more than 30 kinds of these marinated meats. Some are salted, soy sauce marinated, and marinated with various sauces. By the way, next time I will bring beef marinated in tom yum sauce. You eat it, it's delicious. Gu Gong's words made Zhang Xiangbei yearn for him, so he raised his cup and touched Gu Gong's cup. As delicious as the food cooked by Gu Gong are his stories, all kinds of interesting things he heard and saw from the fields and the countryside. As soon as he drank wine, he would talk about them endlessly. Zhang Xiangbei listened with great interest. Zhang Xiangbei also told Gu Gong about his uncertainty. Gu Gong said, "You have a sense of worry. It is a good thing to have a sense of worry. People who can achieve great things will definitely not be able to do it without a sense of worry. It can also be said to be insight. A person's insight comes from his sense of worry. Having a sense of worry will make people sensitive. Only by being sensitive can you see and feel things that others can't see and feel. This is normal. Such a big stall is here. On the contrary, if one day if you have this kind of awareness, you need to be careful. It means that you are comfortable and have allowed yourself to hide in your comfort zone. If you start dating little celebrities again, then you and this company will be close to death." Gu Gong laughed loudly as he spoke, and Zhang Xiangbei also laughed, but he thought, Xiangnan is also a little star, why don't I feel this way? Be born in sorrow and die in happiness, Gu Gong added. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "Why do I feel so cool that I can no longer be cool?" Gu Gong reached out and patted Zhang Xiangbei on the shoulder and said to him, "When you have a burden, you can be as light as a swallow with empty hands and feet. If you have a burden on your shoulders, can you run easily?" Zhang Xiangbei nodded, feeling that what Gu Gong said made sense. Gu Gong raised the cup in his hand, clinked it with Zhang Xiangbei, put down the cup, and said, "Mr. Zhang, you are a good person." "What's good?" Zhang Xiangbei asked with a smile. "Not like a rich second generation." "Oh, what should the rich second generation be like?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "I don't know. I'm not a second generation rich man." "How do I know?" Gu Gong said. "Anyway, I don't think you are like you. You are not so showy. No matter if you are a second generation official, a second generation rich man, or a second generation star, the biggest problem with all second generation people is that they take what they get for granted and create an illusion in themselves." "What hallucination?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "They will mistake these for their own abilities, resulting in a feeling of being puffy and fat. They feel that they should occupy more space than others in this society." "Do you know this feeling?" asked the consultant. Zhang Xiangbei thought for a moment and said, "I have never felt that I am a rich second generation. I am not pretending. I have never felt that money is such a great thing. Since I was a child, money has never put pressure on me. Maybe I don't feel it. Well, I think, maybe that's why I make money while studying, so I can be so calm and leisurely." "That's right," Gu Gong said, "if you have to earn the money for tuition and food by yourself, you will be scared, very miserable, and have a lot of psychological pressure." Zhang Xiangbei nodded, "So, at that time, I really regarded making money as a thing. There is a big difference between doing it as a thing and doing it for money. After I finished it, I felt that it was a good thing. It's the sense of accomplishment after success, not how much money you make, including the fact that I'm doing home delivery now. If it's just for the money, I don't have to do anything." What Zhang Xiangbei didn't tell Gu Gong was that he had never felt that money was important since he was a child. That was because he knew that there were things more important than money in the world. When he was sitting in the corridor of the hospital, staring at the glass, watching his father drawing a watch for his mother while his mother was leaving him little by little, he felt powerless at such a young age. He felt that as long as his mother could survive, he would be willing to give him anything in exchange, all the things, the family house and car, all the money, his parents' company, so that he would never play games for the rest of his life, everything, even if they become 3 beggars, as long as my mother can come back to life, he is willing. But my mother left anyway. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you Zonkai 727, Water and Youth, Book Friends 201703031958399050, Professional Season Formal Wear, Wooden Man, Very Careful 333, Midnight Woo GEC, Book Friends 202010270333272244, you know whether a book is good or not, Brother Azu, Dragon, Chien Dad's Monthly Pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 1979. Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan, and a large group of them came back from the United States. This time so many people went there together and there was nothing going on at home. For Lu Bang and Lin Shuwen, the founders of the Han Dynasty, the company was listed on Nasdaq. There is a lot of joy in the company, and a large group of happy people are in the company, and the company will not have any problems. Everyone has suddenly become rich and their enthusiasm is high. As for Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan, Zhang Chen has kept himself idle for a long time. If anything happens below, the people below will solve it themselves. Tan Shahan and Lao Tan are similar. After the front line shrinks, they don't have so much. The project department will handle every matter of the project department by itself. If it cannot handle it by itself, it will ask Yang Ying for instructions. Yang Ying is now the vice president of their splendid China group. They all took this opportunity to have some fun and drove north along the east coast of the United States, all the way to Canada, and then back. A large group of people returned to Hangzhou from Shanghai, got off the expressway, and went directly to Zaixianshui. Seeing them arriving, Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan came to greet them. Xiao Fang called Zhang Xiangbei for a meeting, and Zhang Xiangbei but he escaped. Finally, Wu Huan solemnly reported the company's situation to the 3 company shareholders Zhang Chen, Lu Yun, and Xiao Fang in the conference room. Zhang Xiangbei took other people to visit the workshop below them and diagonally opposite them. Food factory. After completing the round, everyone was filled with emotion. Lu Ligan said, "Not bad, Bai. We started with such a big project, and we managed to get it over with." Lao Tang said, "Young people today are so powerful. When I first started my business, there were only 3 people printing t-shirts in a dilapidated warehouse. The stall in the Huanbei market was shared with 2 other people, each with a wall. The front wall is the best, we will rotate it once a week." Old Tang's words made everyone feel very emotional. They remembered that when they started their own business, who was not like this? Lin Shuwen didn't have enough money to open a clothing store in Taipei, so Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han Dynasty, lent it to her. Lu Ligan returned to Hangzhou. Relied on the 100,000 yuan Zhang Chen gave him to start his real estate business. In Shenzhen, Chu Tianlin first ran business in a printing company run by Hong Kong people. After accumulating her own customer resources, she scraped together all the money from her family and her husband's family at the time to buy a second-hand printing press. Started to set up a printing shop. Even Lao Tan was in Hainan at the time. After leaving the army, he took the second-hand man and 2 other people with him and started doing some small jobs introduced to him by his former comrades. They could not do the big jobs yet. No, Bai, I'm so excited by you that I'm going to start a business again. I'll start tomorrow, Lu Ligan and Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhang Xiangbei felt a little embarrassed when they praised him. The next day, Lu Ligan really took Zhang Chen and set off. The first stop was Wu Ziyawai's hometown, Tonglu. He wanted to buy a piece of land by the Fukun River to build his B/U0026B. Then he went to Yongcheng and Chun'an, and continued his B/U0026B business on the banks of Xianan River and Qiandao Lake. Then he went to Xianzhou, Lanzhou, Kaihua and Jinyun. Old comrades had already helped him with several pieces of land there. To decide, Lu Ligan only needs to go over and take a look to confirm. After returning to Hangzhou, they will go to Deking. The goal is to build a B/U0026B in Mogan Mountain, and then to Heping Lake in Tongxiang. If they go all the way, they will go to more than 20 counties and cities in one go, most of which traveled all over Zhejiang. Tonglu is a famous hometown of express delivery. The bosses of several major express delivery companies in the country, except SF Express, are all from Tonglu. The origin is from the shipping department of Wu Ziyawai and Wei Venfang, who were driven away by the postal inspection team in Sijiking. After Lu Changcheng convened various departments and held a meeting with them, Wu Ziyawai and Wei Venfang finally no longer had to run away and stabilized. After they stabilized, many of Wu Ziyawai's fellow villagers and relatives, as well as many of Wei Venfang's fellow villagers and relatives, came to join them. Wu Ziyawai's relatives were smarter. After working here for a while, they imitated their example and started the same business. It happened that the country was opening up the express delivery business and online shopping was booming. These relatives, they all took advantage of it and grew bigger, becoming several well-known express delivery giants in the country. However, Wei Venfang's relatives and fellow villagers were more honest and did not have the courage to go out to work alone. They only knew how to work hard and hard. As a result, Wu Ziyawai and Wei Venfang's company, and several senior leaders of the company now, are all relatives and fellow villagers of Wei Venfang, from Tonglu. There is no one left. Even Wu Ziyawai's sister married the owner of another express company and became the boss's wife. As the parent official of the hometown of express delivery, the secretary, county magistrate, and deputy county magistrate of Tonglu, of course, would come to Hangzhou to visit Wu Ziyawai and the others soon after taking office. If there were any major events in the county, they would be invited back. Therefore, Wu Ziyawai became very close to them. Ripe. Wu Ziyawai asked Lu Ligan how much land he needed. Lu Ligan said it should not be too big, 1 or 2 acres would be enough, and no more than 3 acres at most. A piece of land as big as this, Wu Ziyawai asked, you don't even need to bid for it. You can just buy a piece of wasteland on a slope in the village. I originally wanted to go back and buy a piece of land to build a villa. Even the secretary and the county magistrate wanted to go back and buy a piece of land to build a villa. There's no need to alarm, just go find Deputy County Magistrate Su. Coincidentally, this Deputy County Magistrate Su, Lu Ligan just had a phone call with him a few days ago, and was introduced by the old director of the Hangcheng Planning Bureau. Deputy County Magistrate Su was originally a director of the Hangcheng Planning Bureau, and he took up the post last year. Deputy County Magistrate, in charge of urban construction. But on the phone that day, Deputy County Magistrate Su hesitated and told the old leader that he had not been very involved in these things not long after he was assigned, for fear of having a bad impact. Besides, he was a foreigner and it was hard to speak here. No sound. Shit, Wu Ziyawai scolded, he talks very loudly. He bought my piece of land for me. This kind of subordinate cotter is the most popular among the people below. No one below will offend him. What will happen to him? I will give him some face. Why? Zhang Chen asked. Everyone below knows that he is going to be gold-plated. He will return to Hangzhou in 2 years. He has no conflict of interest with the locals. There is no need to offend you. Everyone can just be polite. Besides, when he comes back, no one will knowing what position he will hold in the future, maybe he will become his immediate boss. Save face, and there will be love in the future. Wu Ziyawai said, and Zhang Xiangbei nodded, understanding. I'll give you a call. In front of Lu Ligan, Wu Zai picked up his mobile phone and called Deputy County Magistrate Su and told him about the matter. The other party agreed immediately. When Wu Zai mentioned Lu Ligan, he specially introduced. He said that Mr. Lu used to be my wife and I's boss and he was very helpful to us. Brother, do you want me to accompany him? Wu Zai asked. No, no, no need to go to such trouble for such a small thing, the other party said. Okay, brother, you have a few words with my eldest brother. Wu Zai said and handed his mobile phone to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan took it and chatted with the other party. The other party also knew that Lu Ligan was the person introduced to him by the old leader a few days ago, but the two of them no one mentioned the old leader's name, as if they were talking to each other for the first time today. Lu Ligan was thinking on the phone, it seems that the director has been out for too long, and the tea may not get cold if he leaves, but if it takes a long time, the tea will definitely get cold. Lu Ligan said goodbye to each other with a smile, put down the phone, and looked at Wu Zai. Wu Zai asked, how about it? Do you still need me to go with you? Or can I go with you? No need, Lu Ligan said, and then he cursed angrily, it's so damn good that things have changed. A few years ago, I didn't know anyone who came out of the planning bureau. But now, I, Lu Ligan, don't know anyone. I need you, Wu Zai, to help me connect. Wu Zai rolled his eyes at him and said slowly, if you had been rubbing your dick in that ravine for a few more years, we wouldn't even recognize you. Zhang Chen laughed on the side. Wu Zai remembered it and said to Lu Ligan. Quickly, show me the photos of Wen Wen and Qian Qian. When you were in Hainan, I couldn't hold you even if I wanted to hug you. They smelled so good. Do they still smell good now? Lu Ligan stood up and walked over, picked up the phone on Wu Zai's desk, and dialed a few numbers. Wei Venfang said hello on the phone, and Lu Ligan said. Wei Venfang, come here, I'll show you the photo. Wu Zai's expression suddenly changed. He reached out and pressed the phone. He snatched the receiver and put it down. As soon as he put it down, the phone rang. It was Wei Venfang again. Wei Venfang asked. What did Mr. Lu call me for? It's okay, this jerk, if he has any serious business, you don't have to come over, Wu Zai said quickly. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan looked at Wu Zai and laughed. Lu Ligan cursed. Wu Zai, you are afraid of Wei Venfang. From Haikan to Yongcheng, you have been like this for decades, and your style remains the same. Wu Zai blushed and argued. You know nothing. It's not that you're afraid. It's better to do less than to do more. You know, you should learn from it, or else you will be kicked out by Tan Shuhen in the future. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen went to Tonglu and found Deputy County Magistrate Su in his office. The two walked in. Deputy County Magistrate Su was stunned for a moment when he saw them, then quickly stood up and walked towards them with a smile. And stretched out his hand at the same time. Lu Ligan was about to stretch out his hand, but he didn't expect that Deputy County Magistrate Su was coming towards Zhang Chen. He held Zhang Chen's hand and said. Oh, it's Professor Zhang. It's a rare visitor. Welcome. Professor Zhang, are you familiar with Mr. Wu? Zhang Chen smiled and said, old friends, we have known each other since we were in Hainan. Lu Ligan was stunned on the side, forgetting the embarrassment just now. Professor Zhang? When did Zhang Chen become Professor Zhang? What is going on? Thank you Hu Hu for the tip. Thank you to Hu Hu, XXHHLLL, Robin Granite, Daos Hung 123, Tamagotchi, Zonkai 727, AC 777, and Daja for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 1980. Deputy County Magistrate Su asked Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan to sit down on the sofa, and then said, "Professor Zhang, I have watched your speech, and it was very good." He looked outside the door and continued, "Actually, what you said is about Chengjian Railway Station and Qingtai Street. We all support it, but we can only applaud you secretly." After saying that, both he and Zhang Chen laughed heartily. Lu Ligan could only laugh along, but he was still confused in his heart. Then they got down to business. Lu Ligan told Deputy County Magistrate Su his purpose of wanting the land. Deputy County Magistrate Su asked, "Do you need to be close to the county seat and have more convenient transportation, or do you want the scenery to be better, but it doesn't matter if it's a little remote?" Lu Ligan's target customers for his homestay are very clear, mainly for those who travel by car. For them, the location is not a problem, but the building itself and the surrounding environment must be very particular, otherwise he will stay in a hotel or hotel in the city. "It's an express hotel." Lu Ligan said, "It doesn't matter if the position is a little off." "Is Qililong okay?" Deputy County Magistrate Su asked. Qililong. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan are both familiar with it. It is a town below Tonglu, located on the bank of the Fukun River. It is now renamed Fukun Town, but everyone is still accustomed to calling it Qililong. Qililong is at the junction of Tonglu and Yongcheng. It can be said that it is separated from Yongcheng by a strip of water. The upper reaches of the Fukun River is the Xianan River. There is a Xiananjiang hydropower station on the Xianan River. The reservoir area of the power station is Qiandao Lake. Qililong has a Fukun River hydropower station. Half of the reservoir area of the power station is within the territory of Yongcheng. Wu Ziyawai's original workplace, the hydraulic machinery factory, was right next to the Fukun River hydropower station. Lu Ligan nodded and said yes, Qililong is fine. The company Lu Ligan has registered is called Renjia Tourism. He plans to build a series of Renjia series of B/U0026BS across the country. The ones on the mountains will be called Mountain Renjia, and the ones by the riverside will be called Waterside Renjia. Those on the seaside are called Seaside People, those in ancient towns are called Guhan People, and those with no mountains, water, sea, or ancient towns are called Plain People. Those who can't fit into anything can be called Ordinary People. Anyway, people can be everywhere. Deputy County Magistrate Su looked at his watch. It was already past 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He said, "Okay, let's go over and have a look now. I will treat you to dinner personally in the evening." Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan were about to make polite remarks when Deputy County Magistrate Su said, "Professor Zhang and Mr. Lu are here, how can I not treat them?" In one sentence, neither of them could refuse. In Lu Ligan, the target of the treat was obviously Zhang Chen. "Isn't it a bit pretentious for you to refuse? People spoke so harshly to Zhang Chen, how could you have the nerve to refuse?" The two of them could only say thank you. Deputy County Magistrate Su stood up and asked them, "Did you drive here by yourself?" Zhang Chen said yes. "I'll take your car and go," Deputy County Magistrate Su said. The place they were going to was Cormorant Bay in Qililong, opposite the Fukun River, more than 10 kilometers away from Tonglu County. They did not leave the county and get on the expressway, and then get off the expressway at Qililong Cow. Instead, they took National Highway 320 and passed through Fukun Chun Town, then passed the hydraulic machinery factory, drove from the top of the Fukun River hydropower station to the opposite side, and then drove along a county road near the mountain. Diagonally opposite is the Yanziling fishing platform. Deputy County Magistrate Su pointed to the opposite side of the river and told them that Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan actually knew that the opposite side was Yanziling Diaotai. They had performed in this area before when they were in the troupe, but the two of them still pretended to be enlightened. "Looks like, yes, That's really good. We arrived at the mouth of a bay in front of us. It was not a big bay, about 30 or 40 meters wide. The trees on the mountains on both sides were lush and lush. Through the glass windows, we could hear the chirping of birds in the woods. The water of the Fukun River outside the bay was blue. When we arrived at the bay, it slowly turned green. They continued to walk into the bay. On the right side of the water, a row of restaurants appeared. It seemed that this was a place where everyone came to eat and check in. The further in, the narrower the bay became, the greener the water, and the birds. The chirping became louder and louder, and there were almost no cars along the way. Deputy County Magistrate Sue told them that it was still very lively here at mealtime. After driving in for more than 10 minutes, we reached the bottom of the bay. Deputy County Magistrate Sue asked Zhang Chen to stop at the head of a small cement single-arch bridge. The three people got out of the car and looked outside. The entire river bay was like an open fan, spread out in green in front of them. On the surrounding mountains, there were pine forests mixed with bamboo forests, clumps of indigo and emerald green. They could faintly hear someone. There were voices speaking, but the person speaking could not be seen and it was not known where they were. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan turned around and looked at the mountain col inside. A small stream gurgled down from the mountain. The barren slopes beside the stream were about 200 to 300 square meters on one side and about 100 square meters on the other side. It was a vast wilderness. Reeds sway in the wind. Deputy County Magistrate Sue asked Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan, "How is it here?" The two of them fell in love with this place the moment they got off the bus, and Lu Ligan quickly said yes. "I can give you a little 6 acres by borrowing a little bit of mountain land. Is that enough? Including this creek will make it a perfect landscape." After all, it came from the Planning Bureau, and Deputy County Magistrate Sue was no stranger to this. Lu Ligan said, "Thank you, leader." Deputy County Magistrate Sue waved his hand and said, "There are no leaders after leaving the office. I am a few years younger than you, so you guys call me Xiao Su. We are all brothers. Let me tell you the truth, this place was originally chosen by Mr. Wu, and it is closely related to the local village and all aspects. We have already negotiated. Mr. Wu called me on the way from Hangzhou and he said that if Mr. Lu likes it, he can give it to you. This slut." Lu Ligan cursed, and Zhang Chen also laughed. Xiao Su didn't understand what they were laughing at. Zhang Chen explained to him and told him that Wu Zayawai was originally from the hydraulic machinery factory we passed before, and he beat them back then. The director of the factory fled to Hainan. He bought land and built a villa here. Every day he came in and out, he had to pass by his original factory. It must have been a good feeling. Xiao Su grinned and said, "It turns out that Mr. Wu still has such a history." Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Don't look at these bosses. They are all well dressed and human looking. They have washed their hands and feet before they are clean." "What about you?" Xiao Su laughed and asked. "We were not much better," Lu Ligan said. "When we were in the troop, we went on tour and stayed in other people's ancestral halls at night. We also secretly drank several jars of wine that were placed there. As a result, we were arrested. If they find out, they won't let us go." Xiao Su laughed loudly, and Lu Ligan pointed with his hand and said, "That place is not far from here, just over there in Zhixia. Embarrassing things can quickly bring people closer together, especially embarrassing things involving self-destruction." Next, Xiao Su no longer called Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan Professor Zhang and Mr. Lu, but Brother Zhang and Brother Lu. Zhang Chen stood there and immediately thought of a design plan. He didn't bother to go to the car to get a sketchbook. He found a branch nearby, folded out a section and held it in his hand. He squatted down and drew it on the ground for them to see. While explaining the painting, Xiao Su said after he finished painting, "This plan is great. I believe it can bring us all together. Brother Zhang is really awesome. I have experienced it today. The three people got in the car, turned around at the bridge and drove out of the bay. It was already past 5 o'clock. When they drove to the entrance of the row of restaurants, they saw a lot of restaurants parked in the open space in front of each store. Car, Xiao Su told them, we will eat here. After parking the car, Xiao Su led them into the store. This store was very small. It didn't even have a name. There was only one bungalow, about 40 or 50 square meters. When they walked in, there was a 7 or 8 square meter foyer. Behind the foyer is the kitchen. When the proprietress saw Xiao Su, she stood up, smiled at them, and said, "Are you here?" Xiao Su nodded and said nothing. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan were wondering how to eat in this place. The proprietress led them out of a door. After walking out, the two of them felt that their eyes suddenly opened up. A ladder extended downwards. Below, two long bamboo houses were built close to the water bank. The roofs were made of bamboo. Weaved with bamboo strips and bamboo leaves, it looks like the roof of an awning boat. The floor of the house is in the air, and the floor and walls are all made of moso bamboo as thick as a bowl. In front of Mizu's house is a long corridor, and outside the long corridor is the green water. Along the long corridor are small houses, which are the private rooms of the hotel. As people walked on the corridor, the bamboos under their feet made a squeaking sound. The proprietress led them into the box at the top, and the three of them sat down. The box faced the corridor outside and had a large window. There, the mountains and water outside came into view, which made people feel very comfortable. Zhang Chen felt that this borrowed scenery was a good one. Before they could order, the landlady stood there and asked, "How about a straw chicken, a steamed mandarin fish, a stir-fried yellow beef, a stir-fried screw with soy sauce, a stir-fried meatball with vegetables, a stir-fried river shrimp with leeks, and a marinated one?" Xiao Su looked at Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan, and they quickly said yes, yes. "What kind of wine do you want?" asked the landlady. "It's still bayberry wine," Xiao Su said, then turned to Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan and said, "The bayberry wine here is good." After the boss lady left, Lu Ligan asked Xiao Su, "Are you familiar with this place?" "Yes, usually when I am alone in Tonglu and don't want to eat with those messy people, I will come here. It is quiet here. By the way, when the boss lady and the waiter come, don't tell me what I do. I don't even know, I just know that I am a regular customer," Xiao Su told them. Zhang Chen felt a little strange. It was almost the same time to get here from Tonglu County and to Hangzhou from Tonglu County. Even in Hangzhou itself, if you go from the west of the city to the east of the city to go to work, it would take about the same time. This Xiao Su, a people come here to eat, why not just go back home to Hangcheng? Zhang Chen and Xiao Su said, "It's only a short distance from Tonglu to Hangcheng. Can't you go home every day?" Xiao Su smiled and said nothing. Lu Ligan said, "You don't understand this. Even if it takes 2 hours to walk from Tonglu County, he still sticks to Tonglu when he gets here. If he goes back to Hangzhou every day, no matter how close the distance is, others will say that he doesn't feel comfortable working. He is willing to take root in Tonglu and go back to Hangzhou every day, even though everyone knows that he will never take root in Tonglu." Xiao Su laughed when he heard this, and said, "It seems that Brother Lu is knowledgeable about our industry. Come on, let me toast you. Thank you for the unyielding reward from 2 fish 1 up and 1 down. Thank you Bing Hai Greedy Chong, Julia Caesar, Lao Chantang, leaving the game, Ljiang Misty Rain * Konglu, Book Friends 20190129082828268883, Nian Nian ZZZZZ, Zipanjiang 1, Book Friends 1302141533042558, Quiet and in Action 2012, Chuanlin, Zongkai 727, Book Friends 202009111601097550, Monthly votes for Xiaoao Yuanzi, Tianying 1978, Luo Dashu, Donglongdong, Book Friends 2019060517170070, 0HJKLG, Lao Shenzi Sang, Once Upon a Mountain, Humorous Tribe, Qian Dad, Nankimen 79, Book Friends 201808030256355047. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1981. Brother Zhang, do you want it? If so, I will find a piece of land for you so that you can stay in Tonglu, Xiao Su asked Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen quickly said, thank you, I am not Wu Zayawai, I am not that showy, and I have no need in this regard. Zhang Chen felt funny in his heart. What he was thinking was, why do I need a villa? The villa in Dehuayuan is still empty and no one is staying there. He has never stayed in such a beautiful villa in the Sanya World Tropical Botanical Garden a few times. Even in Yongcheng, Sun Jin had mentioned it to him many times, and Zhang Chen had never thought of returning to Yongcheng to build a villa. He was not Yekinyu, so he came to Tonglu to build a villa. Yekinyu is a famous painter from Tonglu. Before his death, he would return to Tonglu from Beijing almost every year. After his death, the Tonglu County government funded the construction of a Yekinyu art museum to display the works donated by Yekinyu to Tonglu County, as well as his own creations. There are also collections. Zhang Chen visited them twice. Lu Ligan kept winking at Zhang Chen, but Zhang Chen didn't understand. The sky outside is getting darker little by little, and the mountains, water, dark green, and green all sink into the boundless darkness. Even the birds in the woods, after the darkness falls, they look like human beings. They all returned home. It was noisy for a while, and then it became quiet. The sound insulation effect of this kind of house made of moso bamboo is very poor. From the longhouse below, they heard the sounds of cups clinking and diners shouting, and they heard the same sound coming from several rooms away. The only sound was the box next to them, which was always quiet and empty. Xiao Su told them that the diners here all like the row of private rooms below, which is closer to the water, and the hotel next door has better business than this one, but I still like it here. Are you afraid of meeting someone you know? Lu Ligan said, while Xiao Su remained silent. Indeed, many people who come to eat here will definitely know that Xiao Su is the deputy county magistrate. Some people have even dealt with him. If you see the deputy county magistrate eating here, don't come in and toast him with a glass of wine. After you go out, I bought the order for him without even leaving you a chance to refuse. That's why he chose this hotel with relatively few people on the second floor, and it was at the end of the corridor. No one would pass by outside the window. He must have told the landlady that he liked peace and quiet, so the landlady didn't, when the room is full, try not to place guests in the next room. Zhang Chen felt that this official was really careful. He couldn't go back to his family in an upright manner, and he didn't dare to eat in an upright manner. Everyone thought that an official was very majestic, but they didn't know that many times an official, they all behave with their tail between their legs, just like Li Yong and Lu Changcheng. To put it nicely, they are called to pay attention to their own image. After the three of them finished eating, they walked up. Zhang Chen wanted to pay the bill. Xiao Su said, I've agreed to treat you, but you can't buy it even if you want to. Zhang Chen told the proprietress to pay the bill. The proprietress looked at Xiao Su behind him, shook her head and said, no, I won't accept it, as the customer told me. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan understood that Xiao Su must have sealed his mouth with the landlady. He was eating here and no one was allowed to pay for him. Xiao Su smiled on the side and asked, Brother Zhang, how are you? Is it because even if you are rich, others won't buy your account? Zhang Chen shook his head helplessly. After Xiao Su paid the order, the landlady asked, "Should I ask for a driver?" Xiao Su is right. The landlady walked to the door and called out, "Drive." Immediately, someone ran out from nowhere. This was the driver waiting nearby. He asked Zhang Chen where they were going, and Zhang Chen said Tonglu City. 50 yuan, the driver said. Zhang Chen said yes and handed him the car key. The driver pressed it and Zhang Chen's car lights came on in the parking lot. The driver walked quickly towards that direction, and Zhang Chen and the three of them followed. "Let's go," Lu Ligan asked Xiao Su in a low voice. "So careful. In fact, we can drive it ourselves." "I can also drive," Xiao Su said. "There is nothing I can do. If there is an accident, the impact will be bad." There was a chauffeur in the car, and the three people's conversations became cautious. They had a ride but not a ride. The main conversation was between Xiao Su and Zhang Chen. He asked Zhang Chen something that he couldn't fully understand when he was watching the video. Zhang Chen answered the questions for understanding one by one. These are very security questions. Xiao Su lived in the county government hotel. The three of them got off the car at the hotel gate. Xiao Su led them, walked a few steps to the side, and then stopped. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan are staying at the Kaiwan Mingdu Hotel in Tonglu, not far away. They will leave Tonglu for Yongcheng early tomorrow morning because Lu Ligan has made an appointment with the executive deputy mayor of Yongcheng. The deputy mayor will tomorrow afternoon. He was going on a business trip, so he and Lu Ligan agreed to meet at 9 o'clock. "You go ahead. I will say hello to several departments here. Brother Lu, you can come and go through the formalities when you return. We in Tonglu welcome you as people's tourism." During the meal, Lu Ligan told Xiao Su their plans and itinerary. Xiao Su knew that they would rush to Yongcheng early tomorrow morning. The two said goodbye to Xiao Su, got in the car again, and asked the driver to take them to Kaiwan Mingdu Hotel. When they arrived at Kaiwan Mingdu Hotel, the two of them completed the check-in procedures. They did not go upstairs immediately because it was still early. They went to the lobby bar on the first floor to drink tea and found a secluded corner to sit down. Lu Ligan said, "You guy, why are you so ignorant of appreciation? People have good intentions, but you refuse them with just one sentence, and you don't even know how to act." "What's wrong with me?" Zhang Chen asked. "Xiao Su asked you earlier if I wanted to buy you a piece of land in Tonglu, but you refused right away. Do you know how kind this is and how much face they give you?" Lu Ligan said. "I can see that. He really wants to make friends with you, don't get me wrong, there's no other intention, he just admires you as Professor Zhang." "I'm going to Tonglu to build a villa," Zhang Chen said. "Am I out of my mind? I've got nothing left to offer to Zhangjiangbei and Xiongnan. They don't like it, so I still want it. Come here to build a villa to raise mosquitoes. I'm not Wu Zayawai, and I'm not that cool." "Hey, that's not right. How come it's normal to give you land, but it's a big honor to give me land? Are you cheating?" Lu Ligan even spoke in Hainan Esset. "Can these two pieces of land be the same? My piece of land was not given to me by Xiao Su, but by Wu Zayawai. Wu Zayawai is a well-known person in Tonglu in other places. Entrepreneur, he wants to return to Tonglu. Everyone in Tonglu will definitely welcome him. The procedures for the land have been settled long ago. Xiao Su is just doing a favor and showing me the door. Besides, I'm here to build a B/U0026B and a company is here to invest. I'm here to attract investment, not to build a private villa." "What if I want it?" Zhang Chen asked. "Then he really wants to help you from the beginning. This is a risk for him. Didn't you see how careful he was in Tonglu?" Lu Ligan said. "This is a big deal. When I return to Yongcheng, Sun Jin and the secretary and mayor of Yongcheng also welcome me. I want to find a piece of land." "It shouldn't be too simple," Zhang Chen said. Lu Ligan shook his head. It's unreasonable. Whether it's you, me, or Tan Shahan, we are in Yongcheng just like Wu Zayawai is in Tonglu. We are also the most famous entrepreneurs in Yongcheng outside. When we go back, this is called attracting local entrepreneurs who are abroad to return to their hometown. This is called bringing the phoenix back to its nest. It is a political achievement. Do you understand? What's going on when you go to Tonglu? Lu Ligan's words left Zhang Chen speechless. Lu Ligan continued. Wu Zayawai is right. People at the local level will not offend cotters like Xiao Su and others, but you know, what is the most important thing for them when they get to the local level? Of course it's about making achievements at work, Zhang Chen said. Wrong, the most important thing is not to cause trouble. If he gets through it safely, he can leave Tonglu and return to Hangzhou. If there is any trouble here, he may not be able to go back. Even if he goes back, he will be demoted. No, the most important thing he has to do is not to offend anyone if he makes trouble. As for his achievements, he can embellish them on the materials. The interests of a place are intertwined. If you want to achieve great results here, you will definitely touch other people's cheese, offend other people's interests, and offend others. Then you will die without a burial place, superior. The organizational department sent people to inspect your performance during your assignment, and there were a lot of problems reported, all of which made you shake your head. Land is such a scarce resource now. No matter how big or small it is, there are many people watching it. If he gives it to you, he will offend other people who want it. Do you understand? It's better for you to just say, pop in an instant, someone's hot face turned into a cold butt. Lu Ligan was nagging, but Zhang Chen finally understood. He felt that what Lu Ligan said was reasonable. Xiao Su was indeed very cautious, and it was indeed a great kindness for him to offer to help him. I want to act for a while, but how? Then please teach me, what should I say? Zhang Chen said angrily. Lu Ligan glared at him and cursed, are you a pig? Of course you should pretend to be very happy, and then praise Tonglu greatly. Finally, after thinking about it, he told Xiao Su that it was better to know, it won't affect you well. Zhang Chen laughed loudly and cursed, this is too humming fake. What are you afraid of? He sold you the favor and you sold it back. In this way, he still owes you a favor. Do you understand? There are still people in this world who think there are too many favors. There are only half-brained and stupid pigs like you. Lu Ligan cursed, come on, tell me how you became Professor Zhang. Zhang Chen proudly told Lu Ligan about his glorious achievements in those years, and Lu Ligan shouted. I'll go. I didn't expect that you would achieve such a big name and be so successful while I was away. Have you fulfilled your promise? Of course, Zhang Chen said, when I was working on the logistics base, there were many projects of yours, Tan Shahan's. Whenever I went to the place, I would encounter scenes like today. Then why don't you keep it up? Also, what happened to Qingtai Street that Xiao Su mentioned earlier? Lu Ligan asked. Zhang Chen told him about the speech he gave about Chengjian Railway Station and Qingtai Street, as well as the call Li Yong made to him. Lu Ligan nodded and said. Fortunately, Li Yong stopped you from the cliff. Otherwise, you, stupid pig, would have been close to death. You don't even know whether you would be able to sit here and drink tea. Is there anyone as stupid as you? In order to please netizens who are stupid, go offend the big guy who holds the power of life and death. If others didn't know that you and Li Yong were brothers, you would have been dealt with long ago. You really thought the Don here was quiet? Thank you for the reward from the book Friend Scooter at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for your monthly passes to Smiling and Running Y and Yuengzi. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.